You are listening to a Core Confidence Life production. www.coreconfidencelife.com.
All right. Welcome to the Core Confidence Life CCL Radio. Well, look at that. Someone taught me my alphabet, right? All right. I am your host, Dennis R. Sumlin, coming at you. All right. And on this show, this episode of ours, we've got a great guest coming up talking about a great topic. All right. So do you have any children, right? Have you planted your seed, or do you plan to, right? Do you plan to have a spouse, or do you currently have one? Because today's program is all about maintaining great relationships with your spouse, maintaining great relationships with your children, and of course, most importantly, maintaining a great relationship with yourself. That's right, yourself, without your hands being down your pants. All right, disclaimer time. On the program, since we are all adults, right, I might use certain four-letter words, such as cake, Massachusetts, and other choice words. So you have been warned. And once again, welcome to the program. I am Dennis R. Sumlin. If you want to get in touch with me, just send a message to Dennis@coreconfidencelife.com. That's Dennis@coreconfidencelife.com. And if you are just joining this program for the first time, I welcome you. I am Dennis R. Sumlin. I am a communication and confidence coach. And here on this program, we are all about men's personal development. We're about power, principles, and a productive mindset. I'm here to help you as a man live from your soul, your core, your spirit. All right. And so we've got a great show on tap today with our guest. All right. And he is a men's coach and kung fu master. So before I get my ass kicked, let's hop to it. Oh! Jeremy Roadruck, also known as Jeremy the Kung Fu Guy, lives in Ohio. He is a Kung Fu master and a 6th-degree black belt. He is also an author, speaker, and men's coach. He focuses on fathers building and maintaining a great relationship with their wife, their kids, and themselves. All right, here we are on the Core Confidence Life with Jeremy Roadruck. How you doing today, sir?
I am outstanding, sir. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you for joining me on the program.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yeah, and you have a lot going on. So let's start out with, tell us what you do. What's your official title?
Well, officially, I run by the title of Jeremy the Kung Fu Guy, and it's usually after people meet me, they go, okay, that makes sense. I am a 23-year veteran in the martial arts. I'm actually training right now for a competition in China. I've been out of training for competition for about 20 years. I was doing a lot of it late 90s, early 2000s, and then I started focusing on starting a school, and so I stopped the competition side. But Kung Fu master, 6th-degree black belt, trained all over the world. China, Korea, Hong Kong, Brazil, Canada, throughout the United States. That's one part of my life. My favorite part is being a husband and father. I have a young lady who is turning 4 on Monday, and there's a whole great story about how she showed up 14 weeks early because she's in a freaking hurry. And my wife was really slow, and she took until 38 years to show up in my life. And I decided to be a dad at 9. So that was a whole big adventure right there. And then I'm also an author and a speaker and a coach consultant. I work with primarily right now, I have a program for men. 7 weeks, we're going to transform what's going on with their relationship to themselves, relationship to the woman in their life, and to their kids, and how to get more communication, more influence, and really bond with your kids during the critical years of their life. And so basically I say I'm stacked. I'm a speaker, I'm a teacher, I'm an author, and then I'm a coach / consultant / catalyst. So those are the 4 areas of my life, kind of spring, summer, fall, winter, in the professional, and then a husband, father.
Excellent. Mouthful. You have a busy life going on there. All right.
I
And
do.
yeah, you do. You do. We're going to get into the kung fu fighting in a little bit here. But I want to focus right now on, you mentioned you work with men, you have a 7-week course, and you work on men on themselves, their relationship with their wives and their children. So
Yes.
let's do a one-by-one thing here. How do you help men relate
Sure.
to themselves?
Well, the biggest thing with guys is, and really I look at it masculine energy versus, men, women, masculine, feminine. I look at the idea of masculine energy. Masculine has like a purpose or a vision. We have a reason. We have a gift to offer the world. And the challenge we go through is that we have to mature. We have to go through stages, right? One of my young students, he's 13 years old, and he's like, I want to find my soulmate. And I kind of like looked at him like, are you stupid? And I was like, dude, what are you going to do? What are you going to offer her? How are you going to provide for her? How are you going to take care of her? You don't even know who you are. How are you going to talk about me, the soulmate? You haven't figured yourself out yet. You still get in arguments with your mom over dumb stuff versus just handling your business. You want to bring a wife into that situation? Are you insane? You need to get solid on yourself first. And that's that first step is, as guys, we got to get clear on us. Who are we? What do we like? What do we not like? What are we here to offer? What's our boundaries? Because there's a woman out there that will love you for who you are when you're clear. And the challenge we run into is a lot of us end up dating women who see our potential, and then they cut our balls off because we're not living our potential. And they think if they criticize us, then somehow we'll man up. And the truth is, you and I both know, criticism drives us crazy and we leave. Because you give us enough pain, I'm not going to deal with it. See ya. Have a nice life. And we'll go where we get adoration, where we get praise. So for the guys, the first step is getting clear on yourself and just owning where are you, what stage of life are you in. No judgment on it, not saying you're wrong, just you are where you are. Once you're clear on where you are, then okay, what are you here to give? What are you here to experience? What are you here to offer? What are you here to provide? And so we move through stages to become a king. And we got to get there, but we got to go through some stuff, and we got to figure some things out and maybe make some mistakes and maybe have some pain, right? Don't be the knight in shining armor, because that means you've never been tested. And that's the thing when I coach women and when I do relationship stuff, it's like, you don't want to find the guy in shining armor because he's untarnished, he's unblemished, he's never been challenged. He doesn't know what he's made of. You got to get the guy that's in the black armor. It's been scarred, it's been scratched, it's been beat to hell, because he knows who he is, he knows what he does, and when he gives you his word, come hell or high water, he's going to deliver. And that's what I call a man versus a boy. And a lot of women complain. I'm like, excuse me. You're complaining about a boy who hasn't matured yet, not a man who owns himself. Because if you can manipulate him, if you can push him, if you can do all these things, that he's not a man who owns himself yet, then yeah, you're never going to respect him. And he's never going to be able to be who you need him to be, because he's still in process.
That is powerful. That first, and this is exactly some of the things I work with when it comes to coaching men, is just getting to know yourself, getting comfortable with yourself, even the parts of yourself that you don't like.
Yeah, absolutely.
So get comfortable with the stuff that you don't like. Get comfortable with the sides of yourself that other people may have stigmatized. Lift the stigma and just own yourself.
Exactly. Who you are, your foibles, your challenges, your pains, your struggles, that makes you you, and you don't have to be everything to everything, right? My wife and I just bought a house, and so we're going to go through, let's open up these walls. It'll be easy. We start ripping out the walls. Oh, crap, there's plaster and slats, so that we got to take all that stuff out. Luckily, there was some chicken wire. Then, that's a structural wall. I got to get that reinforced. And all of a sudden, what should have been maybe a week and a half became a 3-week project. And now everything's off schedule. She's pissed at me because she's feeling the pressure, because we got to get out of the house we're in now before a certain date. We're running out of time. Still got things to get packed. She feels like she's doing all the packing because I'm out doing construction and I got to go run the martial arts school. And so it's like, you left me holding the bag on all this stuff. And I'm like, babe, it's not quite that way, but you have every right to feel the way you feel. And, I'm okay with jumping in and let's go build something. That's not every guy. Not every guy's going to be like, yeah, let's just rip out that wall and open it up. No problem. Okay, so own that. But also, because of that, I dug into this. I don't track time real well. So, I'm going to forget some stuff. I'm going to realize, oh, crap, that needed to get done. We're behind schedule. We don't have hot water yet. We don't have internet yet. So, oops. But what am I going to do? Beat myself up or just kind of move on?
Yeah, and I definitely hear what you're saying. Getting to know yourself, and getting to know yourself doesn't just mean a list of qualities. Getting to know yourself means how you operate every day. What are your habits that are governing your actions every day?
Oh
And
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's a little tough to, because a while ago it took me a while to try to get to know my own habits. What am I actually doing every day? What are the motivations behind the actions I take every day? And that takes
Right.
some sitting down and some work. So
Yeah. Well,
you both
even
work on the
just
same areas with that.
yeah, absolutely. Well, it's just at the end of the day, what do you want to do? Do you want to download your whole day? You just want to go in your cave and veg for a while? I mean, knowing those rituals makes it really easy for someone else in your life to work with you. And if you're not clear, then you're trying to be something that they want you to be, and it's like, but I never feel fully. I never got my reset button.
Yeah.
So you just gotta. It's okay to have those things. I like my coffee with 2 sugars.
Absolutely. I like my eggs in the morning. I need eggs, protein, something there, right?
Yeah. Chris Rock did a routine on the big piece of chicken. I want the big piece of chicken. Well, somebody
Yeah.
else got the big. Dude, actually, I thought of that. When my now wife, we were dating, and her son stays with his dad sometimes, but he was visiting, and usually when she and I would eat hamburgers, she'd give me her pickles, and then she gave him the pickles instead of me. Didn't even ask me, just was like, "Hey, you want my pickles?" And she gave them to the boy, and I'm like, there's a part of me that was like, "Hey, those are my pickles. That's not fair." So we had a conversation later, and I was like, "Hey, babe, I love you. I love the boy. We're cool. I just want you to know that kind of hurt my feelings when you didn't even offer me the pickle to say, hey, do you want it? Do you not want it? Because I would have let the boy have it because I know he likes them too. But I didn't even get the option, and that hurt my feelings." And she was like, "Oh, I didn't even realize." And so now sometimes she gives me grief about it. Sometimes she doesn't. But she's like, "Hey, you want my pickles?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, I love your pickles." And then, but the boy's here. He can have a pickle too. We'll share. Right?
That I can talk about this knowing yourself forever, but I want to use the pickle story to segue into the next one, which is relating to your wife, which is, sometimes it's you giving her the pickle. All right.
Yeah, you went there.
That's right. So talk about the best ways to relate to your wife. What does all that mean?
So when it comes to, really, it's about appreciating the gifts that feminine brings to you, and it's a totally different world. Women and men, masculine and feminine, totally different creatures. And for feminine, it's about, where's that position of safety? When the tiger shows up, are you going to protect me from the tiger? Yes or no? And so for feminine, it's constantly, I want to keep everybody around me happy. I want to keep everybody connected. What's going on with you? All that kind of stuff. And it's being able to respect that need that they have, but also put boundaries in for you to exist as well. As an example, I was out one time with some students, and somebody was saying some stuff, and I was kind of giving some input, some guidance, and the student is older than me and was being very obstinate and borderline disrespectful. And I rolled with it, whatever. We get in the car, and my wife knows I'm pissed. And she's like, "Hey, babe, what's going on?" And I said, "I don't want to talk about it. Everything's fine. I love you. We're cool. We'll talk about it later." And then about, 15 seconds. "So what don't you want to talk about?" "Okay, babe, talking about what I don't want to talk about is talking about it. I don't want to talk about it right now. Just let it go." And then about 15 seconds later, "Why don't you want to talk about it?" "Okay, babe, talking about why I don't want to talk about what I don't want to talk about because I'm not ready to talk about it is talking about it." And then she pushed one more time, and then I exploded. And so now we have a rule where when I say I'm not ready to talk about it, she says, "Okay, when do you think you might be ready to talk about it?" Because I unloaded it, and it was just this huge stream of consciousness for about 7 or 8 minutes of just me venting, yelling at the steering wheel over nothing that had anything to do with her in the slightest. But she knew something was bothering me. And for feminine, when something bothers you, you pursue and you connect. They say, "Hey, what's going on?" "Oh, everything's fine." What that really means is, if you loved me, you would know I'm not happy and you should come talk to me. But a guy hears that and goes, "Fine." And when a guy asks a guy, "Hey, what's wrong?" and the guy says, "Hey, that's fine. It's whatever. It's cool." The other guy's like, "Okay." And then we move on. And so that bridging the communication, starting to understand your communication masculine versus her communication feminine, they're different creatures. Masculine communicates to get the point across. Here's the data I want you to have. Let's go. Feminine communicates to get the emotional state. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I'm noticing. This is what I'm aware of. Here's where I'm at. And they don't want a solution 9 times out of 10. They just want to connect. I got this thing and it's so annoying and there's all this stuff that's, oh, babe, well, you should do this and this. What you just did is you invalidated her because she didn't ask you to fix her problem. She just wanted you to listen. And you go, oh, wow, that sounds rough. That's not fair. And that's it. And she's good because she gets that out of her system. And now she can just go on about her day because we're connected. You understand where I'm at. I'm happy. And off she goes. But if I try to solve her problem without permission, now I've invalidated her. I've just told her she's incompetent. And I just made myself into a tiger. I'm a threat to her instead of being a support for her. And it's super hard for guys to get it. But once you do, it's like, oh, this is so much easier. It's like, yeah, you just ask her, hey, babe, am I listening to problem solve or just listen to understand? Because then if she doesn't know, then you're listening to understand.
That's very interesting. Excellent points. And I find that the underlying problem in a lot of different situations, and we're talking about relationships and marriage here. So a lot of the problems between men and women is all communication based.
Absolutely.
All communication. When you see marriages go downhill, even when you see people cheat or abuse, sometimes it's all communication. At least a lot of it.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, what I heard you say was this. Yeah, but that's not what I meant. Oh, well, why didn't you say what you meant? Well, I did. You just heard me wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Oh. And so how do you get past all this? Because, I'm, I guess in this way, typical guy. Like if I'm tell you I'm fine, or if I tell you an answer, that's it. That's
right.
It. Yeah, and then you keep asking me. No, that's it.
Yeah.
Why? What is it about no or later or whatever? Don't you understand?
But why later?
How do you start to negotiate your style of communicating as a man to their style and without her falling all to pieces or something?
Right. Well, the thing is, she wants to know, okay, this is your decision. The more you can include her in the reasoning behind it or the logic behind it, then she could support it and go, okay, I understand that. Because she wants to understand, just saying no. So as an example, a friend of mine she was looking at her yard and she's thinking, hey, we could do these things in the backyard. And her husband says, no. You're like, he's got the power of veto somehow. But she has her own money. She has her own job. She makes money. He makes money. Why does he get to say no? Why can't I want to do this thing? And we had a conversation about it. And I was like, well, what's it going to give you? Well, it'll improve the property values. It will make the yard look more beautiful. It'll create a safe haven. He and I can connect. I'm like, did you tell him any of that stuff? No. Right. So you went and asked for permission and he said no. So don't ask for permission. Say, hey, babe, I just want to get your opinion on something. I was thinking if we took, say maybe about $10,000 and we put it into our backyard and we did this and this and this, do you think that would raise the property value more than $10,000? And when we decide to sell the house, we get more out of it? And when she came at it that way, all of a sudden he was like, yeah, let's do that. Because she got his input and she asked for his opinion, got him thinking the way she was thinking and noticing what she was thinking. So what we got to do as guys is we've got to look at the context a little bit more and say, okay, she's asking me this. She's telling me this. Why is she telling me this? Is this something she wants me to know? Is it something she wants me to feel? Is she looking for validation of a decision she's already made? So knowing kind of why she's asking, then I can come at it a little bit different. I can be like, you know what? Because we got a house, and so we're painting the rooms. And hey, what do you think about this color? And da-da-da-da. Honey, I love you. Whatever color you pick is going to be amazing, and I love it, and I'm going to paint it. So I would like to see the room be a little bit lighter than it is now. And by me giving her that information, I didn't make a decision. I didn't say I had to be this or that, but now she has enough that she needs. Plus, I quote unquote gave her permission to make the decision. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's that context.
Yeah, and the flip side, I've definitely heard a lot of women say, when they're talking, they don't want their problems solved. They're just talking. And then, right. But you're sitting in front of me telling me all these different things and how your boss is miserable and your girlfriend doesn't do this and all these things. And you expect me to sit here and listen? What if I just want to help you and make you feel better and solve it for you because you're in tears?
Right,
what do I do, Jeremy? What do I do?
Well, that's when you ask. You say, hey, babe, I love you, and it breaks my heart to see you like this. Can I solve this problem for you? Or you got this? Can I offer some strategies or some ideas here? You have to get that permission. Because then you say, yeah, I want to hear it. Or she'll say, no, not right now. But, same deal, and I know with coaching. You got to get permission to coach. Because if you coach someone who's not asking, they're not open, it's going to go over like a fart in church. And it's just they're not gonna take the advice. But if they're not asking, they're not gonna take the advice, they're not gonna take the input, they don't want it. And so, she's in tears and she's upset. Say, babe, I love you. I'm sorry to see it the way that it is. I have some ideas if you want to talk about it. What can I do to support you? What can I do to love you right now? And when you say that, it's like, oh my God, he gets me. He understands me. He cares about me. That a lot of times that stuff, it's just think about women like a crock pot, and you can just put all that stuff in there and just let it simmer all day long. But eventually it reaches the boiling point, it reaches the top, you got to empty it back out. And so when they go through and they kvetch and they do all that bitching and do all that complaining, what they're doing is they're doing a download. So your job is you hold the bucket, you catch the stuff. You don't really have to pay attention to a whole lot of it because it's not going to come back up again, or it's going to be the same issue. There's just the emotion builds up. They purge it. They feel better. All right, there we go. It's like when you have a really big crap and then you take it and then you feel lighter and you're like, man, I think I lost a couple pounds. That's what women are doing with their words emotionally, and they're dumping all this stuff. The problem we have as guys is we're listening for all the data points going, okay, I got the whole entire story, and here's how we're going to fix it. And it was like, that was never the conversation. It wasn't about fixing it. It was just about listening and going, oh, wow, I get where you're at. That sounds stressful. And then they go, yeah, it is. Thanks.
Yeah. It's an important lesson. Learning how to listen, because that's another thing that, learn how to listen. Don't always want to solve everything. Just give someone the space to be who they are, and give them that room and that support instead of always having to say something and do something.
Yeah, the biggest gift you can give is presence. Just being there to fully listen, fully engage, because then it's like I feel heard and I feel acknowledged and I feel understood. One of the dads in my program in the martial arts school, huge dude, like bodybuilder, powerlifter type guy, and he's got this little tiny young lady. She's about 3 years old, and when you give her a high five, she does a pirouette. And she does this little thing with her hands, and you see this big, huge guy just melt when she does it because it's just adorable. But then if you get down on her size and look at her dad, here's this huge mountain of a man, literally, and he's just, whenever she says, he dotes on her and he's fully present for her and he cares about everything. So what if we give that gift to our women in our intimate relationship, that when she speaks, we're 100%. What do you got, babe? I'm here. And they become the center of our world for that moment. What does that give them?
Absolutely. So, and we know this, a lot of these problems are based in communication, but putting that aside, what are some of the biggest problems that men come to you about when it comes to relating to their wives, aside from communication?
The biggest issue is getting their balls cut off because they messed up in the past. And so it still gets brought up today. And I can never catch a break. I can never get that she never lets it go. And so then the conversation there turns from, you take your relationship, do you want to be right or do you want to be in love? And what you're doing when your woman is criticizing you like that, she's cutting your balls off, is because she feels powerless, so she cuts your balls off to get the power back. So what you need to do is figure out how to not give her power, because a healthy relationship should not be one of us is playing the other for power. We should both be co-creators. It's 100% each of us. Both of us have power. And if she's feeling powerless, then it's figuring out how can I get the structure in the relationship back in the back seat. So relationship is 2 words, relation and ship. When you put the structure in front, you get your balls cut off. You get all the criticism, all the pain, because it's the structure. I got to be right. So the question I usually throw back at the guy is, okay, so she's upset. Would you rather be right or would you rather be in love?
That's a powerful question. The need to be right for men is incredible. And I've often tossed that around in my own head. Like, I really do like being right, but at what cost?
Exactly. You can be right and sleep on the couch.
At what cost? Are you willing to just stroke your ego a little bit for the possibility that you might be right, or kind of alienate somebody?
Exactly. And so you can be right and you can sleep on the couch. Have fun with that. And that's how things start to unravel. But she was wrong. It's like, maybe, but does it matter?
That's a way of weeding out what really truly matters in life and with your partner, and what's just silly stuff.
Right. And that's why you got to go back to what really matters to you in the first place as a
That's right.
man. What matters,
What matters to
right?
you
I
as a
mean,
man.
if you're married to a lawyer, right? Think about this as a woman or a man. You're married to a lawyer. When they come home, do you want a lawyer that you're married to, or do you want to marry somebody who practices law? Because
Yeah.
if I'm married to a lawyer and that's their identity, then everything is a cross-examination. Everything is somebody's on the stand. Versus someone who practices law, they can put that shit down and we can have dinner. It doesn't have to be a negotiation or a crisis or a cross-examination or a let the record show or let the witness speak, whatever bullshit. We can just be.
So be honest with me, Jeremy. Did you ever try to coach your wife?
I don't try to. I don't try to. I get permission. I ask her, hey, babe, I love you. Can I offer something? Because and sometimes she'll say yes, and sometimes she'll say you're so full of shit. And it's fine. Because when we got together, I'm a few years older than her. But when we got together, I said, babe, there's only two things I ask from you. Just two. Number one is be honest with me, no matter what, good, bad, or sideways. I want to hear it, because if it's the truth, I can deal with it. And number two, I don't want to be in the friend zone.
Yeah.
That's it. And then maybe number three is don't hold anybody else's penis. Maybe that's another one you could throw in there.
Don't hold anyone else's penis. That's an important part.
I mean, we got the son, you got to clean him. But other than that, but those are my two ground rules. Just be honest with me and keep me out of the friend zone. So when she's pissed at me and I'm in the friend zone, it's like, okay, that's a sign something's got to change. But then when she's being honest with me, because she was in a previous relationship where she was made wrong when she was upset, she would go into a feminine storm. And the guy she was with would say, you're being ridiculous. Come back and talk to me when you're reasonable and ready to talk like adults. And when you demean and diminish your partner like that, like you're so much above me, this is the same guy who, when he got in an argument with her, spat on her because he wouldn't do anything else. So I'm like, dude, really? Are you going to spit? Really? Wouldn't yell, wouldn't this, that, but he spits on her. I'm like, oh, okay. So in that previous relationship, knowing that pain point, for me, anytime she's upset, I'm a fighter. I'm a warrior. Babe, please throw that damn punch. Metaphorically, literally, I can take a hit. Be honest with me. You're upset. You have every right to be upset. But once I understand the situation, it's like, you know what? I messed up. That is on me 100%. What do you want for me to do to make this right? Or I'll figure it out on my own. But then I'll ask, she's got something going on at work. She's got something going on with friends, with a client. I'll be like, hey, babe, can I offer some strategies here? And she's fully in her right to tell me, go after myself, and no, keep it to myself. Because we have that line of communication, but we set that up from the rip.
Excellent. That's good stuff. Do you ever hear the book, The Way of the Superior Man?
Yes, David Dida. It's one of the books I recommend for my guys.
That is one of my favorite books. That's probably going to be number 2 or 3 on my list of favorite books of all time.
Yep.
Excellent book. And now that I'm mentioning it, I know that he offers it for free. It's a free download. Anyone's allowed to give it away. So maybe I'll have it up in the show notes. Who knows?
Yep. Right. I found a PDF of it online for free too.
Yeah, I have it too. It's an excellent book. It's talking exactly what we've been talking about so far, the polarization with masculine and feminine, and how to make those, and how to balance those things.
Yeah, and one of the things too to keep in mind is a guy can be heterosexual and feminine in his core, and that will affect how he shows up. Then if he tries to be with a feminine woman while he's in his feminine, that usually doesn't work, because if she's not a lesbian, that relationship, the polarity is not going to be there. So he needs to be with a masculine woman, then things will be fine. You put a masculine guy with a masculine woman, it can be very, very passionate, but then there's always this unconscious battle of who's got a bigger dick. And then it's just never going to work either. I'm fortunate. Definitely. Well, I'm fortunate that my wife, Autumn, she can move in her masculine and her feminine, and I can too, because I was in an unhealthy relationship for about 5 years. And I went into my feminine to try to maintain it, which was completely not what I should have done, but it's what I felt I needed to do at the time. And so we both have an awareness and ability to shift polarities, which is really freaking helpful, because there was one time I called and I was just overwhelmed. And I was like, babe, today is just not working. I'm struggling. I can't even with this place. And I was at the martial arts school and I was just overloaded with just everything. And so she showed up like an hour later with a Frappuccino in one hand and a hot chocolate in the other. I was like, I didn't know which way we were feeling, but here, And I took them both and drank them both. And I was like, oh my God, I love you. Because that's all she did. It was just, I hear you. I see you. You matter to me. And that was what I needed in that moment. Not solve my problems, not give me strategies or change my state. Just acknowledge, hey, I'm here for you. You're struggling. I love you. I got your back. It's cool. And so I was in my feminine and she stepped into her masculine. And it was just, it was like early in our relationship, but it was just like a really poignant moment for me going, yeah, this is the right woman for me.
Wow. I can go on and on about this, but I do want to get to some other things. This is great stuff too. Okay. So now you know yourself, you've communicated with your wife. She's held your penis. And all of a sudden, after a while of holding your penis, you have kids.
Yes, that usually happens.
That's what usually happens. And I was talking about this on another show and in a free download I offer on my website about the three different stages of a child when they're going through building their values. You know, we absorb values from the world. And so we went through the impressionable stage, the modeling stage, the sociability stage, you know, all the way from 0 to 21. So talk about a man relating to his children. What's that about?
So one of the big things I see, and this is now 23 years of teaching martial arts, the biggest challenge I see with parents is they fall into the trap of positional authority with their kids. And positional authority basically sounds like, because I said so. And it invalidates the other person's worldview, opinions, desires, wants, needs, perspective, priorities. It just completely disempowers the other person to just say, well, I don't care, shut up, do what I said. So we don't want to, with younger people, you don't want to give too much context or too much choice because they can't handle it. They do need to be told, basically, shut up and do it. But you have to do it in a way that motivates them and helps them to want to do it from their own volition, internal control, versus I made you do it, external control. So as an example, my daughter's 3 on Monday, and she's super helpful most of the time. But every time she goes and gets something that we ask her, oh my gosh, that was so great. Thank you. High five. You're so awesome. You're an awesome girl. And so we keep reinforcing when she's doing a good job listening, when she's helpful, the stronger character traits that we want to see out of her, asking permission, touching base, communicating, letting us know, oh, I have to pee. Okay, thank you for letting us know. We'll get on that right now. Communicating with us so that we can help her to get the things she wants. But then there's going to be times, babe, you know, right now the obsession is I want to watch YouTube. I want to watch My Little Pony on YouTube. Okay, babe, right now is not the time because we got other things going on. Mommy needs her phone to work. But you can have some later, some after dinner. If you eat 2 chicken nuggets, you can have some My Little Pony for 2 episodes. And so, yeah, we're negotiating with our child. Well, duh, because you want them to have the skill to negotiate. But we're not negotiating about things that are like life and death type stuff. Right, but I want to hold the knife and dance on the cage. Well, okay, maybe you could hold the knife and dance on the cage, but only after you do your math. Right, that's not open for debate. You're not dancing with a knife. I love knives. I have knives. You're not touching the knives until you're older because you're crazy. Love you. So it's positional versus influence is the key. It's you understand. You know, as men, we have opinions. Capital O. Opinions, things that we have thought through. There's a logic behind it. There's a life experience behind it. It's not just a thing we say. If you listen to women sometimes, feminine people, they'll say stuff. They'll be like, yeah, I said that, but I didn't mean it. You'll never hear a masculine man ever say, I said that, but I didn't mean it.
I haven't done that since I've been a kid.
Exactly. Masculine men say exactly what they mean, exactly in what they say. There's no subtext. If they're masculine, they meant exactly what they said, exactly what they said it. And so sometimes the trap we as fathers get into is we have a whole logic of stuff, and our kid, or our wife, but our kid in this case, with our kids, the kid asks to do something, we say, no, we're not going to do that. But then we don't let them know why. We don't let them, here's the reason, here's the context to go with it. So it's just, well, Dad won't let me. Well, let's think this through for a second. Does this seem like a good idea? Does this. So took my stepson to the skate park, and he's got a little scooter with the handlebars, and he had the helmet on, and he wants to drop in. And he wants to drop in from the top of the pipe. I don't know if you have a background in skating or not, but you basically have like, you know, a big wavy thing. And the very, very top's about 4 to 6 to 8 feet in the air. And then what you've got to do is you've got to push your body weight forward and slam the nose down as hard as you can as you drop in to keep your weight forward. If you don't, your weight will slide backward, the board will shoot up under you, you'll smack your head on the ground. I know this because I did it multiple times as a child. So he wants to drop in from 8 feet. I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. But, dude, we're going to start over here on this corner. You're just going to drop 3 inches from this edge. Get comfortable with this, then we'll build up to that. That's a step 2 or a step 3. I'd love to do that today, but let's start with step 1 and see what happens. And because I communicate with him that way, it's easier to stop the tears and the frustration and the you won't let me's, because no, you totally can do that. What has to happen first? And so we begin to work our way backward, and I'm teaching him to think logically and break down this complex thing into smaller and smaller bites. That way it gets easier and easier.
You know, a lot of times, the old school, I know you do this kind of thinking, the old school parents, do as I say, not as I do. Children should be seen and not heard. I'll whoop your ass. I'm going to get the ironing cord and I'm going to whoop your ass.
Again, you can be right or you can be in love. Do you want your kids to leave when they're 18? You never see them again? Never see your grandkids?
Well, I mean, some kids grow up from these old school parents and say, that ass whooping did me some good, I tell you.
Yep. Well, occasionally, what I call kinesthetic adjustment, sometimes you do have to get a kid's attention by meeting them where they live. Kid next door, we were playing football in the backyard. There was another kid new to the neighborhood from Turkey, and I actually grew up a little bit in Turkey when I was a kid. And so we're playing in the backyard, playing football, and it was just tag. So we tagged the people, and then he would kick me in the nuts. He would tackle me and then kick me in the nuts. And like the second time, I'm like, dude, stop. Third time, I'm like, dude, don't fucking do that again. Fourth time, he tackled me, he kicked me in the nuts, and I snapped. And I basically had a psychotic break. My brother and my next door neighbor, Jay, they pinned me to the ground. I tossed both of them 6 feet back into a chain link fence at 11 years old and tore off after this kid. And if I could have caught him, I would have killed him because I was just gone. All I was rage. And this kid thought it was hilarious. He thought I was joking around. My brother runs over to my house and gets my mom. And I'm chasing this kid. We're running around through the yards. We come up around past my house. And as I run past my front door, all of a sudden, swack, I got nailed. Right hand to the left side of my face, stunned me in my tracks, stopped me, broke my state. And I looked at my mom, and I grabbed my face, and I started bawling, and I went into my bedroom, cried for like 20 minutes, and slept for 3 hours. I needed that because there was no other way to stop me. Nobody around me was strong enough at that time to hold me down, and I was not a big guy, but I was just totally enraged. So my mom did the right thing hitting me to stop me because there's nothing else. Now, roll the clock earlier when I was 6 and 7 years old, and I did something I wasn't supposed to do, and they would give me a choice that I could be grounded in my room or I could take a spanking. I would take a spanking because they felt bad about it. They wouldn't hit me that hard, and then I would use that as leverage on them later because they feel guilty about it. And put me in my room, I can't do anything. I'm bored. I want to go outside and play. So I take the spanking, cry a couple of tears, then go outside and play. I win. So doing that, nice. So doing the ass whooping, it may or may not work. It depends on the kid and how to get where they live emotionally that's going to relate to them. Beat your kid up to a point, it's going to start to become counterproductive because now they don't do the right thing because it's the right thing. They do it because they're scared if they're going to get caught, which operationally is good, but then once they're old enough to get out on their own, their moral compass is still screwed up, and they're going to do stuff only, well, if I can't get caught, then I'll break the law. If I can't get caught, then I'll cheat. If I can't get caught, then I'll do drugs. If I can't get caught, then I'll rape and steal. And is that really the morality you want for your kids? Is that the person you want raising your grandkids?
That reminds me, because of the whole thing. I grew up sometimes, and my parents didn't always tell me the reasons why they were telling me to do things, even simple things like don't leave the refrigerator open or don't, it's time to get a haircut. Why? Just because we said so. So
right.
when I was younger and I got my own place, in the early 20s and something, I did these little things in my apartment that I was never allowed to do. I left the refrigerator open. I left the door open when I'm in the bathroom. I did all these stupid little things that I was told not to do by parents, but never given a reason why. Why can't I leave the refrigerator door open?
Right.
What's so hard of telling me that the food will spoil?
Right.
If I say, well, why do I have to go get a haircut? Instead of saying we say so, say so you don't look like an ugly asshole and people will actually be attracted to you.
Right.
Maybe not in that way.
Because you look like a dirty hippie, damn it.
Yeah, you don't look like a dirty hippie. People don't like people who look that way. That's why you got to get a haircut. But, once my parents stopped telling me what to do, I just let everything go to hell because I could.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why there's that, as you work with your kids, you set boundaries that are clear, but then you communicate to them and you get them involved in and get their buy-in, then it becomes a self-fulfilling thing. Right? In my martial arts school, most of my kids are AB average. We have a young lady started me with at 7. She just left to go to college, and she's sitting on $33,000 a year at a $45,000 a year college. So for 4 years, her family, her mom is going to basically come up with about $28,000 for a 4-year degree because we helped her have the attitude, the mindset, the focus to go get the scholarships. So $33,000 a year is paid for by somebody else. That's nice. And that's not out of the norm for me when people stay with me through high school because we have strategies to help them, but it's all self-generated. It's like, look, if you want $100,000 for college or more, I can help you. I got a series of 6 questions. You got to go do the homework in between. Not mom, not dad. You got to do it because you got to own the results. It's your life, your consequences. But then once we set that ball rolling, I mean, doors open. People will give you money. Don't even know you. They will give you money because you're worth the risk. You just got to show them value in advance.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Speaking of getting an ass whooping, you mentioned earlier about being a kung fu dude. So
that's right.
Let's talk about kung fu. What do you do in the world of kung fu, and why is this so important for men?
Okay, so kung fu, Chinese term, it means skill and ability developed through hard work over time. From a Chinese point of view, everything you do as a human being is a skill you can improve if you practice. Even picking your nose and pooping is a skill you can get better at. Breathing can be a skill. There's masters in Chinese internal work called qigong. They'll breathe somewhere between 4 and 6 times an hour because they're breathing in for 10 minutes, they're breathing out for 10 minutes. But it's a practice skill. And why is that important for men? Really, because we live in a world that emasculates and says, don't be violent, don't be angry, don't be strong, don't have opinions, don't speak up, don't this. Be nice and demure and quiet. Be a good girl. And then, nice. I don't know if you heard the thunder, but that was good timing. Be a good girl and everyone will like you. And the problem is, then when people grow up and the women are going, where's all the good men? It's because they're all neutered. They've all been raised to be good boys. Or, I'm sorry, good little girls.
Be a good little girl. Go stand in the corner and be nice.
Right. Stand in line. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't climb on things. Don't push. Don't shove. Don't hit. Don't yell. Don't climb.
Get out of the dirt. Stop playing
that
dirt. Leave those ants on that tree alone. I used to play with ants on a tree. Leave that tree and those ants alone.
Yeah. Yeah, my 3-year-old daughter, guess what she does? Right? We had to pull her out of the dirt because she wants to go play in the dirt. I'm cool with it. Today's not the day to play in the dirt because we can't give you a bath yet because the water's not hooked up yet to give you a shower. Tomorrow after nap, you could play in the dirt. Although with all the rain, it's going to be mud. That's okay. You play in the mud. We'll give you a shower before we go out with family. It's cool. Because be that influential parent. So because we've neutered our generation so much, and if it's not behavioral neutering, then it's chemical neutering to take away those amplitudes of you're too high energy, narcoleptic them, just knock them down a little bit, squelch their bandwidth, versus teach them to focus, teach them how to pay attention. And that's what martial arts does, is it meets people where they are and helps take them somewhere else. And we learn how to handle conflict, first inside ourselves, but then around us. So there's a school a friend of mine runs, and she had a young man. I met him when he was in high school testing for a second-degree black belt. And the test that he did, part of his demonstration, he had to put his arms out, and they took these big old sticks, about 4-foot-long sticks, and they broke him across his arms, like rake handles. They just broke him across his arms, broke him across his thighs. And it's like, that's pretty cool. They go, yeah, well, the backstory is when he was in 3rd grade, he stabbed another student in the eyeball with a pencil. And you go, wait, he did what? Yeah, he got scared and he stabbed another kid in the eye with a pencil. And his parents put him into martial arts. And you go, wait, they did what? Yeah, because think about it. If you're stabbing someone in the eye with a pencil, how many options do you feel you have? How about none? Because you can't talk your way out of it. You can't walk away from it. You can't laugh your way out of it. You feel the only reasonable thing to do is damage another human being permanently. Oh. So we go into martial arts, we learn how to have more tools, more resourcefulness, more creativity, more flexibility, but also more confidence to let people talk shit and you don't care. And that's the thing. We're not, oh, you're bullying me. You're being microaggressive. You're being exclusionary. It's like, come on, guys. This is people don't have to let everybody be part of everything. It's okay. You can be friendly with everyone because that's your personal standard, but you do not have to be friends with everyone all the time. Yeah. I'm okay with Bill. He and I get along. He's a dick. I don't like him. But we get along okay at school because we have to get along okay at school. I'm fine with that. You can call Bill a dick, and maybe 10 years from now, he'll apologize. At your high school reunion, go, you know what? I was a dick. I'm sorry. My dad was beating the shit out of me, and I was taking out on everybody else. I know what else to do with it. So when we put people in martial arts, it doesn't matter what the program is. It matters the quality of the instructor. So are you learning to punch, kick, grab, tackle, choke, sweep, lock, throw? None of that matters. The physical skill for violence, none of that matters. It's the culture around it and knowing the right time and place. It's not teaching people how to commit violence. It's how to say no thank you to violence. Whether it's internally, being violent to yourself and tearing yourself down, being violent to the people closest to you, like your children and your wife, and tearing them down verbally or physically, and then being violent to the society around you. Say, you know what, I have the capacity for violence, and I have a huge capacity for violence, but I choose the right tools, the right time, the right place to unleash that stuff. When I'm building, I have a lot of strength. Why? Because I have a lot of power available when I want it. But when I'm working with my son and my daughter, my wife, I take that power down a notch. I don't need to bring that same energy. When I'm on stage talking to 5,000 people, I can bring energy to rock that room. I'm not going to bring that to my 3-year-old when I'm putting her to bed at 10 o'clock at night or 9 o'clock at night. And so it's that ability to dynamically change your energy levels, handle conflict, have somebody hit you. One of my Kung Fu brothers, Master Shango, I met him. He was still Muslim at the time, and he went to shake my hand. And I was like, oh, I don't shake hands. And he's like, oh, really? Why is that? He said, oh, well, shaking hands is an ancient warrior tradition that says that you're unarmed, but you're a martial artist. You've trained your whole body to be a weapon. That means you're lying. I don't believe in lying. I was 20 years old. I weighed 141 pounds. I was 5'11". He had been training since he was 5 years old. He was 25 years old, so he already had 20 years of experience. He's from the west side of Dayton. He'd been in all kinds of stuff. He and his brothers used to go beat up martial arts instructors to see if they would take lessons from him. That's how he got started in martial arts. And this scrawny white kid with way too much on his head come in and say, oh, I don't shake hands. I call a man I never even met a liar. That's how I met him. 3 years he wanted to kick my ass. Hated my guts. And then we got to sparring. He beat the crap out of me. And I kept coming back because I was like, dude, that was awesome. Do it again. And I couldn't, he couldn't make me stop. He couldn't hurt me in any real sense because I was like, dude, that was incredible. Do it again. That was so cool. Because who I really was is not how I presented myself when I first met him. Back then I thought no one's going to like me. Let me make them reject me on my terms rather than wait for them to reject me because I had low self-worth. Martial arts helped to build that up. Build up my communication, build up my sense of self-value, build up my ability to handle conflict. It helped me find who that real man is inside that I always wanted to be since I was 9 years old. And that's why I'm such a proponent and a fan of the martial arts, and I know the good that it can do. If there's one thing I could require for all American citizens, it would be martial arts from about 7 years old to about 15 years old. It would transform our society.
Absolutely. And I think even we all know that boys need an outlet too, as you call it, a kinesthetic outlet.
Yeah.
And what is all this crap? Now, I don't know. I haven't been in school in a long time, and I don't have little children. What is this garbage about taking away all the playgrounds in the schools? Because the schools I went to, they had playgrounds, and then I got a little older, and I discovered, well, that school doesn't have a playground anymore. Like, what? Like, yeah, you're taking away recreation, you're taking away playground, you're taking away – what is all that?
Well, as the educational system moves towards standardized testing to qualify for funding and qualify for justification and performance and evaluation, we don't have time for little kids to go outside and run around and be little kids.
Oh, no, hell
because they need to check off their boxes and get good at checking off their boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a misplaced priority. They've actually found in some schools, they've actually gone the opposite direction. And instead of doing one recess a day, they do three recesses a day. And guess what happens to behavioral issues?
They go away, right?
Yeah, they're almost non-existent
They're
because the kids
non-existent.
get out and run around.
Out
They
they
blow
go.
off steam.
Boys need to
You need
blow off
that.
steam. Men need to blow off steam. We're physical beings,
Yeah,
men.
yeah.
We have to figure out a way, because if we hold all of that aggression in, it's going to come out in ways either on us or against society when we really don't want it to.
Right, because you can't. Whenever you make something wrong, it persists.
Yeah.
Right, you can never until you. Joseph Campbell, he said, the treasure you seek is in the cave you fear to enter. So the thing that you want to get to, and this is for men, we have to step into our fear. Not necessarily step, but at least lean into our fear. We have to go to the places that make us uncomfortable, that scare us, because that's how we grow. And that's how we learn to master those skills, is by getting into that place. I'm afraid to have this conversation with my wife. Then you need to have that conversation. But I'm scared. What if whatever. If it's the truth, it's the truth. If she's honest, she's honest. You gotta face it. Because the more you try and run like a little boy, the more you try and stay away from it, the worse it's going to get, because the more time and energy is going to flow into it. So the sooner you have that conversation, the more she's going to trust you, the more she's going to be open, and the truth is going to come out. If you two should be together, you'll be together. And if you shouldn't, isn't it better to find out now versus wait 10 years? Then you'd have other people's lives involved.
There you
have that integrity.
Great point. Be honest now. Get everything out now, because if you're holding it, then you don't know what's going to come out in the future. And then you're already deep in.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and you already had your reservations, but you never said anything.
Yeah.
And then you try to, well, it'll just get better. I'll just patch it over. I'll just put up with it. No, It's not fair to you, because you can't be your authentic self, and it's not fair to the people around you because they're not getting your best. Right? Look at sports franchises, and you see athletes on one team and they suck ass, and they change teams, and all of a sudden they're amazing. Yeah, because it's the culture. The culture's better. The coaching is better. It works for them. They click. So why be in a relationship, personally, professionally, intimately? Why be in that relationship if you're not able to be just you? Well, I have to work on eggshells. I can't say that. Well, I can't say that. My wife would get so mad. Yeah. What the fuck? Get your balls out. Put them on the table. Let's have a conversation.
Absolutely. This is excellent. I do want to fit in a little bit of your own background. We could talk forever on this topic. This is, yes, good topic. How did you come to do all of this? What was your journey through boyhood, manhood? How did you find your manhood? All that stuff. If you can do it in less than 17 hours. Okay, well, this is great stuff.
Yeah, I could do it quick. So there's a woman out there who teaches stages of masculine development, and that men go through a series of growth stages. Alison Armstrong, brilliant work, dovetails nicely with David Deida. The only thing I would say to either of them is focus on masculine, feminine, not men, women. So as long as you just keep that part clear. But one of the things she talks about is men go through this stage of prince, where we build a kingdom, and the prince has 3 stages. 1, plant the flag. Where am I going to plant it? 2, I got the flag planted. Now I'm working and building my kingdom. And then 3, it's called a late prince. I'm right at the cusp of kinghood, and life is good. It's solid. Things are going great. And all of a sudden, the dude falls into a tunnel where everything is fucked up. And what was good yesterday isn't good enough today. And I'm questioning myself. And why am I doing this? What is this even for? What's the purpose? So guys fall into this existential tunnel for like 3 months to like 6 years. And when we come out the other side, either we go back to a prince, build a new kingdom, or we become a king. Well, I basically jumped into that tunnel at 6 years old. And what happened was we were a military family. We were living in Saudi Arabia, and I was out playing in the sand dunes, which is next to, like, there was some construction, stuff like that. And the military compound we were on was the housing was protected by the Saudis. And so I went out past an area I wasn't supposed to be, and there was a guard there, and the guard came down with his junk in his hand making kissing noises. And the next thing I remember is slamming my head backwards into his M16, laying on the ground under some sort of an awning, and getting up and running away, putting my pants back on, or pulling my pants up. And I didn't know exactly what happened, but I knew something happened, something was wrong, but rather than he was wrong, the situation was wrong, I internalized it as I did something wrong, or I am wrong, and I had to hide. And so that led to a shift in behavior that was kind of subtle, but I basically switched from a little child's brain to a teenage brain. And that means I started having the existential question. I started noticing what people say, what they do, they don't match. Why don't they match? And so I began getting very curious and about everything, but I couldn't trust anybody for safety. And I couldn't talk to anybody because I didn't trust anybody. So here I am, 6 years old, and I got to rely on myself for my own safety, my own protection, because I don't know who to trust. Then my family moved back to the United States, and then I got abused by a brother and a sister that lived up the street in a closet. It happened again, and that just kind of drove some more fear and some more stuff into me. And then I repressed those memories for about 20 years. And so I really didn't, they were kind of there in scattered fragments throughout my teen years, but nothing I could solidly put weight into until my late 20s. And so it drove me into becoming very analytical, very intelligent, very observational, very observant, and a very good mimic. I could watch the social situation around me and what do I need to be in this moment for this set of social characteristics so I get left the hell alone. All right, I can do that. And I became very behaviorally flexible. And then nobody really noticed. And then going through your teen years, you're trying to figure stuff out. I remember one time my mom said, "You were so much nicer when you were 4. What happened?" And of course, being the intelligent and compassionate 14-year-old, my response was, "Fuck you." When what she really was saying was, she was saying that something happened to you. We don't understand the difference. Please help us understand. What I heard was, we liked you better when you were 4. We don't like who you are now. Even though you know all these other things you can do and you're capable of, we don't like any of that. We wish you were the brain dead 4-year-old. That's how I received it. So that drove a lot of behavior. So from about 13 to about 23, 24, I lived with my parents, but I didn't really talk to them. I just kind of grunted at them. You can wash my laundry and I will eat your food, but then don't fucking talk to me. How dare you? And then when I was 26, I realized I'm the first me they've ever raised. The next time they do it, they'll do it right. And that let me forgive and release a lot of stuff that I was holding against them that they were completely clueless about. Because I never let them know that I had been hurt or that I had had issues or that I had this fear. I never told them. So how are they supposed to know how to fix it or do anything if I don't tell them? Dumbass. Oh, yeah, I guess I should have told them. And so that was the beginning of a new conversation with them in my late 20s. Late 20s, early 30s. And I started martial arts when I was 20. And it was my own thing because, like, I swam when I was 8 to 13. I swam. My parents owned that because they paid for it and they wanted me to perform. You're not doing your best. You're not trying hard. I just wanted to get in the water and splash. That's what I wanted. I didn't care about A times or junior Olympic qualifiers or doing my best or letting the team down. I don't care about that crap. I want to get in the water and play because I like playing in the water. That's all I wanted. We never talked about what I wanted from the activity, just what they wanted. And so that led to some things like in my martial arts school, I interview the kids as well as the parents about what they want from their experience because I got to know everybody's agenda so I can help everybody be happy. But at 20, I paid for the martial arts. I did this, I did this, I did this. So I owned it differently. I showed up differently. And within about 3 months, I was training 7 days a week. And it gave me a place physically, mentally, emotionally, socially to really dig into that internal conflict. And I started in March of 1995. In May of 1995, the Grand Master came to visit, and there was a special night. We did some social stuff. Saturday night, went out to go play billiards. And my Sifu, Grandmaster Ming, he heard me say something to myself about myself out loud that was negative. And he stopped what he was doing, and he looked me in the eye, and he said, "Don't talk to yourself like that." And I'm pretty sure my parents had said stuff similar. Best friend's dad gave me how to win friends, influence people when I was in high school. So people saw that I had pain, but the way Grandmaster Ming said it, how he said it, who he was in my life at that time, it clicked. And I was working in a sandpaper factory, so it gave me a lot of time because it's just basic mechanical skill. It gave me a lot of time to think. And I started to realize, wow, I'm a jerk to myself, and I'm angry all the time. And I began to start unraveling what was going on inside. While I was being physical and being physically active, performing at a job going, yeah, I don't want to be here 10 years, 17 years from now because there's people here that are 17 years in the job making $7 an hour. I want to make more than that. I want to be more than that. And so that was a great catalyst to being something more out of my life. And that's what led to the door. I had opportunity in martial arts. I joined the military, but I came back to martial arts because that was where my heart was. And I've trained in China. I've trained in Korea. I've trained in Hong Kong. I've trained in Brazil. I've literally been around the world. Haven't made Europe yet. Haven't made Africa yet. Haven't made Australia. So I got three continents where they teach martial arts. but I got half of them so far, and it's just been the greatest thing and the greatest gift in my life. And even the abuse that I went through, I see now how it's shaped me, and I would never want anyone else to ever go through what I went through. But I look at what I went through as a gift because it shaped me and formed me. I'm who I needed when I was 6, and there was nobody there for me. And now I'm here for my students, for the world around me, to offer tools and strategies. People don't need to go through the pain that I did for 20, 30 years. They don't need to spend 30 years in existential crisis going, why am I here? What's my fate? What's my purpose? Why am I alive? We can find those answers quicker. Because everything I understand, I can teach to anyone basically about 3.5, 4 years old on. I had a math teacher ask me to stop teaching 6-year-olds algebra. I was teaching them algebraic notation because it's fun. And they were coming and showing their classmates. And the teacher's like, stop that. It's too much.
Yeah. So how can people get in touch with you? All this info, maybe they want to talk to you, maybe they want to.
Easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have theparentingprogram.com. All one word, The Parenting Program. Just reach out there. That's one place. You can go to YouTube/Kung Guy Jeremy. I got a bunch of videos, demonstrations, all kinds of stuff up there. Or you can find me on Facebook, Jeremy R. The Kung Fu Guy.
Absolutely. And all this will be in the show notes. And I got to have you on the program again because we are not done. I mean, we're done for the program, but we are not done.
There's so much
areas I want to get further deep into those top 3 areas we spoke about earlier. We are not done with this one, but thank you for coming on this
absolutely
round.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. You've been a great host.
Oh, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
There you have it, folks. Jeremy Roadruck. Hiya is what I say to you. All right. If you want to get in touch with me, Dennis R. Sumlin, get to me at dennis@coreconfidencelife.com. That's dennis@coreconfidencelife.com. You can also find the show notes and everything else that goes on with me and Core Confidence Life by going to the website. And guess what that is? coreconfidencelife.com. So till next time, we're all about power, principles, and a productive mindset. So remember to live from your soul and step in to happiness.